Oh, hey, Matt.
Yes.
It's Mike McGowan.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I just watched 1 week, like 2 hours ago.
Oh, you poor soul.
No, I liked it. I saw it in theaters a while ago, but I haven't seen it since, and I forgot how good the soundtrack was.
Yeah, we like our music. That's why we did a musical. It's like we liked putting music in movies so much. Let's do a musical.
Well, let's start there then. Let's do this because that's a very interesting. You've upped it basically. You've turned it on its head and made it 1,000 times more musical.
Exactly. No, it's fun. I mean, from doing Hallelujah and Saint Ralph to all the music. The music was a big character, obviously, in 1 week. I really do. I'm a wannabe rock and roll guy with no musical talent whatsoever, so it's kind of nice to play in that sandbox when I can. That was a bit of the impetus for
Fair enough.
Musical.
And is that why you're trying to cast rock stars in your movie to try and act more like one?
Well, the thing is, like with Hawksley, he was writing some of the songs, so
right.
It just seemed like good karma to say, "Come on, Hawk, let's just come and play and come out for a day and do this part." And he hadn't done it before, and it was really fun to bring something like him. Or with Mark Jordan just came in, like somebody recommended I see Mark, and he just was so unique that it was easy to cast Mark.
Well, I haven't seen the new film yet, but I saw the trailer for it, and he looks hilarious.
Yeah, he is. He's got this just such a unique look. And
now, is that him, or did you dress him up a little bit?
Oh no, we dressed him up.
Yeah, okay.
Sure. I mean, he thinks he's told me he's got the part because of his glasses. So those are his glasses.
Oh, well, it's the glasses that make it, though.
Totally the glasses. Well, to me, it was the glasses and the bow tie.
Right, yes, of course.
And but he was fantastic. But the fact that he hadn't acted and his audition was so great was amazing to me.
When did you guys film this? When did you shoot it?
We shot it from beginning of February to started almost the end of January for 5 weeks. Shot 5 weeks, starting the end of January, beginning of February.
Great. How come it's coming out now? Beginning of hockey season, or did it just happen serendipitously like that?
No, we had our release date right from we were hoping we'd get a really good festival release, and obviously opening Toronto helped. But we only finished it right a week before Toronto. So editing, special effects, music, the mix, everything else, it just got finished a week before Toronto, and then we thought this coincided with the opening of the hockey season would be a good time.
Yeah, fair enough. 1 week was a very Canadian film. I mean, you have the Tim Hortons thing. Even the tone of the narrator's voice sounds Canadian. Mm-hmm. I'm wondering about this film. Obviously, the film's about hockey, which will do it, of course, for Canadians. But does it have that same kind of feel? Are you trying to do something purposefully that is uniquely Canadian?
100%. I mean, it starts with "O Canada" and ends with the lyric, "We are proud Canadians." Hockey's in our DNA, and it is sprinkled with everything from Canadian Tire references to the hockey news to the score. I mean, I feel like if you can set a film in a particular time and place, and if the story is working, the more unique that can be, I think the more interesting your story is. I mean, if you're pouring a gallon of maple syrup over people that so much they just want to take a shower after because they're just so grossed out, it doesn't work. But really, what I'm trying to do is say, okay, we could use the Home Depot, of course, it's in Canada, but Canadian Tire makes a better rink board in a Canadian hockey film. If you're going to shoot it in Toronto, romanticize Toronto rather than shy away from it, and that was the mandate of making it so Canadian.
Why Toronto? Just because it's close to home?
Yeah, I mean, I live about an hour outside the city. I know the city well. I feel it has not been romanticized in February for some strange reason. And I really wanted to do that. I really wanted to make it a bit of a fairy tale.
A lot of filmmakers, I feel, and I could be wrong about this, I mean, the Trotsky obviously did Montreal pretty good justice a couple months ago.
Yep.
I'm not sure if you saw that or not,
yeah.
but I feel like a lot of Canadian filmmakers shy away from trying to be too Canadian because they're scared it won't work in other markets.
Yeah, I mean that's fair enough, but I mean, really, the reality is our Canadian taxpayers are paying for our films. We're against the juggernaut of American, product, and so again, I don't think it needs to be Canadian just for the sake of being Canadian, but I do think that the Canadian, like when I've shown it across the country in the last sort of 4 or 5 weeks, and invariably somebody will stand up and say, "Thank you for showing Canada on screen," then everybody else will cheer. And I think there's just very few opportunities to embrace are Canadians, and my Canada and my representation of Canada on film isn't supposed to be anybody else's.
Right.
But if it sort of touches some strand of patriotism in you or a viewer, then it's working on that level. But again, I go back to the whole thing. If it's not, like, even with 1 week, there's the humor and the sort of that undercut with the humor allowed the heart, the patriotism, the sentimentality to work so much better. If you don't have the humor, it's also aggressively Canadian or aggressively, in that case, about dying, then it sort of just becomes this, why am I watching this film?
This film, I feel, will be more funny, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, when yes, for sure. He doesn't have, the hockey team doesn't have terminal cancer.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty broad in places. I mean, once you go into the musical world, once you enter that, you're already broad. But what I try to do is surprise. Like, I don't think you can predict where it's going to go in 5 minutes, or let alone the end of the film. And yeah, we have a lot of we're lighting farts on fire to people falling off at treadmills, in the sort of the broad slapsticky stuff, to more wordplay and more subtle humor. So yes, I'm trying to get a laugh pretty much all the way along.
How does the musical aspect get into it? Do people just break out into song randomly?
Not randomly, hopefully. Hopefully it won't feel like it's randomly. No, we. What I wanted to do with this one was not have the songs stop the action. So it's not like, okay, they're just breaking into song, and now it's song time, and nothing else is happening, and okay, it's sort of good, but where's the plot? The songs advance the story. So I really try to blur the line. I mean, obviously, when they're singing. You can't. I'm not trying to mask that.
Right.
And we really big musical numbers to really small ones and everything in between. But I wanted it to feel all organic, so that a song happens and we find out information. It advances the plot.
Okay.
So it's sort of doing two things. Like when we first meet, like, it's about this 17-year-old who goes from no one to number one, and his best friend is Eve, who's lived next door, and she's got a crush on him. And the first. Eve and I have known each other since we were 2, and then she comes back. Our parents met at a fundraiser for Desmond Tutu. Like, it's kind of idiotic. It's kind of, but it tells you some information as well. Like, their parents are sort of lefties or intellectuals, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm trying to layer the songs with information as well.
Are all the songs related to hockey?
No, we have the love songs. We have no, they're not. Like, I mean, there's some of them obviously are, but we have this one line: hockey without fighting is like Kraft dinner without cheese. It's still pasta, but the palate it won't please.
Yeah. Who wrote that? You?
I wrote those lyrics. Yes, I'm inordinately proud of them.
A lot of filmmakers, it took Woody Allen 40 years to do his musical.
Did it?
Well, I think he did it in the 90s, so that's got to be about 40 years.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
It's very early on in your film career to do a musical.
It just seemed like the time was right. I mean, I've been looking around to do a musical for a number of years, and when I came across this idea, and I thought, oh, surely to God, we've done a hockey musical in Canada, and it hadn't been done, I was like, okay, I'm going to do this right away. It was sort of like, okay, do not tell anybody, write the script, get the financing, then announce it to the world. So it felt like an idea that probably should have been done earlier, and I'm eternally grateful that it hadn't been.
What's next for you then?
I don't know. Well, I'm working on something. I hate even to jinx it now. It's sort of too early. I remember when I was doing the press for 1 week, by about halfway through, I'd got far enough along in Hockey the Musical that I was able to say, I'm doing a hockey musical, and then people would laugh and sort of say, are you serious? But I'm not quite there.
The premise of it does sound a little ridiculous, but I mean, looking at the preview, it looks like it's going to be a good film.
Oh, it'll be a ton of fun. I mean, we've just found that audiences just laugh and enjoy themselves.
Cool. Well, I see you don't want to say what's next, and that's cool. Keep it as a surprise.
I just hate to jinx it.
No, I understand. Yeah. I totally understand. So we do a thing on the show called 5 Questions. 5 quick questions, 1-word answers.
All right.
Hockey or music?
Music.
Lennon or McCartney?
Lennon. What's
more important in directing an actor, facial expressions or dialogue?
Dialogue.
Film you're most proud of?
Score a hockey musical.
And 1 word, Michael McGowan.
Canadian.